Hey everyone, and welcome back to our story corner. Today, we re-dive into a classic tale that I think we can all relate to in one way or another. It says a story about a very clever animal and a lesson that's as fresh today as it was centuries ago. So, grab a comfy seat and let's get into the story of the fox and the grapes. Once upon a time, on a scorching hot summer day, a fox was trotting through a field. The sun was beating down, the air was still, and the fox was getting incredibly thirsty. His tongue was hanging out, and all he could think about was finding a cool, refreshing drink of water. He'd been searching for a while, his paws dusty from the dry path, when his sharp eyes spotted something that made his ears perk up. Dangling from a high trellis, under the shade of large green leaves, was a magnificent bunch of grapes. They were plump, purple, and looked so juicy they seemed to sparkle in the sunlight. "Oh wow," the fox whispered to himself, his mouth watering at the very sight. "Those look like the most delicious grapes in the entire world. Just what I need to quench this terrible thirst." He walked right up to the spot beneath the grapevine and looked up. The grapes hung tantalizingly just above him. Confident in his abilities, the fox thought, "This will be easy." He crouched down, gathered his strength, and leaped into the air, his jaws snapping at where he thought the grapes would be. But, snap, he caught nothing but air. The grapes swayed gently, completely undisturbed. The fox mumbled, a little surprised. "They're a bit higher than I thought." He wasn't one to give up easily. He backed up a few steps, took a running start, and launched himself upwards with all his might. He stretched his neck as far as it could go, his front paws reaching. But he still fell short. He landed back on the ground with a soft thud, feeling a little frustrated. He tried again and again. Each time he jumped with more determination, using every ounce of his foxy agility. He tried jumping from the left, then from the right. He tried a short run-up, then a long one. He twisted and turned in midair, but it was no use. The grapes remained stubbornly out of his reach, seeming to mock him from their high perch. By now, the fox was not just thirsty. He was exhausted and even hotter than before. He was panting heavily, and his muscles ached from all the jumping. He stopped for a moment, looking up at the prize he so desperately wanted. The grapes looked just as juicy and perfect as they did when he first saw them. But the more he failed, the more his frustration grew, and a new feeling began to creep in. Finally, after one last failed attempt, he collapsed onto the ground, defeated. He lay there for a moment, catching his breath. Then he slowly picked himself up, shook the dust from his fur, and gave the grapes one final long look. But this time, his expression wasn't one of desire, it was one of disdain. He tossed his head and scoffed loudly. "You know what? I'm sure those grapes are sour anyway," he declared to no one in particular. "Who would want to eat sour, horrible grapes? I was mistaken. They're probably not even ripe. It's a good thing I couldn't reach them. I wouldn't eat them even if they were served to me on a golden platter." And with that, he turned his nose up in the air and proudly trotted away, pretending he had never wanted the grapes at all. And so our story ends. It's a simple tale, but it teaches us something important. It's easy to pretend we don't want something when we realize we can't have it. We call it sour grapes. Have you ever done that? It is a good reminder to be honest with ourselves about what we truly want and to handle disappointment with grace instead of pretending we never cared. Thanks so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this little fable. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a sour grapes moment. See you next time.